James S. Hirsch's Willie Mays, The Life, the Legend, is the first biography authorized by and written with the cooperation of Willie Mays. Speaking with Simon & Schuster, Willie Mays touched on some of the book's highlights, beginning with an explanation of why he was ready now to get involved in a book about his life.
This is a book that is all about the people, and that's what I play baseball for. Is every day that I went on the baseball field, I said I'm going to try and do something for the people, whether it's wrong or right, create something for the fans and things. So I decided that maybe I should let people tell their own stories in a book that I want to get involved in. I wanted people to say what they want to say. I wanted the book to be their book.
For the book, James Hirsch conducted extensive interviews with Mays himself, of course, but also with his family and his friends, his teammates, and literally scores of others.
I found out I have 400 or 500 names that I could come up with where people can talk.
The story, it turns out, is a remarkable portrait of post-war America as it's coming to terms with racism and a growing civil rights movement. Mays remembers the irony of being a black star in a whites-only universe.
First of all, it was very difficult when I came in 1951. When you playing baseball, you think when you hit all the home runs, you're the guy that's supposed to be staying anywhere you want to stay. But sometimes the system don't allow you to do that. There was quite a few cities that we couldn't stay in. We had to keep our mouth closed. But my father had already told me about things like that. You're going to have some hardships when you go and come into the majors. So I understood what was going on. And he says, you have to turn the other cheek. So I started observing that. And I started seeing progress as I began to understand that things have began to change. All these cities that we couldn't stay in, 3 years ago, we began to stay in, like Chicago. We stayed at the Persian Hotel, and then we moved to the Edgewater Beach North, which is a very good hotel. Then we moved from the Hill in Cincinnati down to the Hilton. So everything started falling into place. So I think it was just a matter of time. But it was kind of difficult for me to go out and hit home runs and couldn't stay in the best of hotels and things like that. So the civil rights played a big part in my life, but my father played a bigger part because he understood it way before I did.
Willie's father was known as Cat. He was a baseball star too, but he never saw the majors. He played in the all-black industrial leagues in the Deep South in the 1930s. Very early on, though, he saw that his young son was something special, and so he taught him how to play baseball.
Starting at age 6, when I was in a little town called Westfield, Alabama, my father, would show me different positions, catching, pitching, first base, second base, all the positions. I knew about it when I was very, very young, And I was the bat boy, and he let me play. This is when I was about 9. He let me play first base because he knew I could play, but I couldn't hit it. I wasn't strong enough, but I could catch it without any problem. So I think my father played a really big deal in me playing baseball.
The education of Willie Mays continued for many years, and sometimes got a little rough.
When I went to play with the Birmingham Black Barons, a guy named Piper Davis was my manager at that time. I remember them playing a game in my hometown, Fairfield, and they wanted to see what I could do. So I was still in high school. This was on a Saturday, and the first time up, I hit a home run. Next time up, the guy hit me on my shoulder, a guy named Chet Brewer. And I was crying, and here come Piper out of the dugout. He kicked me. Get up off of the ground, he says. And I said, why? He says, don't let them guys see you crying like that. You go to first base, you steal second, you steal third. And I did. I stole second, still third, and then a little short, fly ball was hit the right. I scored. After the game, he came over and he says, now, that's the way you play baseball. You kick them, they kick you, but you don't cry.
Wherever he went, though, baseball people saw the magic. When the teenage Willie Mays joined the Negro Leagues, his coaches and teammates rallied around him.
That was 25 guys on the Birmingham team, and Piper made sure that I didn't get into any trouble by this. I mean, I never had to go anywhere by myself so I could get in any trouble. The guys on the Birmingham team said to me, "You going to the majors? We're just too old. We're not going to make it, but you will have a chance of making the majors, and we're going to make sure that you did." And they did.
Willie Mays made the majors in May of 1951. He was barely 20 years old, and the Giants' manager, who was a firebrand known affectionately as Leo the Lip, chewed out umpires and got tossed out of games on a regular basis. But when it came to Willie Mays, Leo had a soft spot.
Leo Durocher did so much for me. He made sure that when I had to go downtown, I had an escort to go with me to make sure that whatever I wanted, I could go and get it without having to worry about people ripping me off or something. Because I didn't know New York at that time. I wasn't familiar coming from the South. I wasn't familiar with New York, things like that. Leo would make sure that I got to the ballpark on time. Then when it came to California, I stayed at his house. I didn't stay at the hotel. I stayed at his house. All the movie stars I wanted to meet, he introduced me to whoever I wanted to meet. His wife, Lorraine Day, at that time, helped me out a lot. If I wanted something, she made sure that I got it without any problem. So Leo was my first manager, and I enjoyed it very much.
In 1954, the Giants, led by their star center fielder, made the World Series against the Cleveland Indians, a club that won an incredible 111 games in the American League. The Indians had one of the best pitching staffs ever assembled, and a group of power hitters that included a slugger named Vic Wertz. In the first game of the series, Wertz had the distinction of hitting the ball that was to become the most famous out in baseball history. It's known simply as the catch. But to Willie Mays, the man who made it, that catch was only the beginning.
We was the underdog, probably about 11-2 or something like that, because they didn't think we were going to do anything. And probably the first or second inning, they got two guys on, and Vic came to bat. And I usually play shadow in the polo ground because that's just the way I played, the game. And when the ball was hit, it was hit kind of high, and I was running. As I was running, I knew I got the ball. It's in my mind. That's why the positive thinking coming in from my father. You're going to catch the ball. What do you do with the ball? So as I'm running, I'm saying to myself, I got to get the ball back into the infield. So when I catch the ball, before I catch the ball, I'm turning to throw the ball back into the infield because I knew I got the ball. And to me, it wasn't so much to catch. Of course, you have to catch it before you can throw it. But the key to that particular play was me getting the ball back into the infield and only one guy advanced.
In 1958, the New York Giants moved to San Francisco. Along with the Los Angeles Dodgers, they were the first team to bring Major League Baseball to the West Coast. The team's owner, Horace Stoneham, wanted a new venue and a new manager to go with it. For Willie Mays, this was bad news.
I wanted to stay in New York at the time because I just had a little success in 54, 55, 56. And so now, all of a sudden, I'm moving to a new territory, which is California. I don't know anything about California. I didn't know that you couldn't stay in a certain area. I didn't know all the details of what I had to do in California. So when Leo heard it, he taken me in the bathroom and he says, I'm not going to be your manager anymore. I said, what are you talking about, man? He says, the team is going to California and Horace is going to take Bill Rigney as the manager. It was such a surprise to me that it shouldn't have been a surprise because we wasn't drawing that well, and the Dodgers had already committed themselves to go, and they needed another team. So I think they got together and decided they wanted to go. So I was on the team, and in those days, you had to go where the team said go. It wasn't my choice. It was Mr. Stoner's choice.
The new San Francisco Giants played for 2 seasons in a tiny little minor league ballpark called Seals Stadium. Then they moved to a brand new ballpark called Candlestick Park, built on the shores of San Francisco Bay, where the wind blew 30 miles per hour. It was a baseball player's nightmare.
The first year we played there, 1960, I think it was 60, we couldn't hit the ball out in batting practice. There was no fence out there. The fence was just the bleachers, and the bleachers sometimes was like, I would say, close to 500 feet. And I was wondering, how am I going to hit home runs every day like this? So they finally put a fence in, and the wind blew so hard in that we had a little survey. We'd taken a baseball glove, and we threw it up against the fence, and the wind kept it up against the fence. It wouldn't even fall. I knew right then I was in trouble. So I think I lost about maybe 10 home runs a year there, maybe 15. I don't know. So it was very difficult in the first couple of years there. I learned to hit the ball the right field then.
Memories from Willie Mays, inspired by the new biography, Willie Mays, The Life, The Legend, by James S. Hirsch.
I think if people read the book, they will see that there's a lot of combination things in there. I've been just about everywhere that I wanted to go. I have done a lot of things in life, so it's going to be a very, very good book for people to read. I felt that it was just a pleasure to do the book, and I hope people enjoy reading it and have positive things about what the book is all about.